Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the CHANAKYA Dialogues English.
Not an immensely trustworthy lot. And when I say this, I mean that America has a long history of letting down its allies. Indians feel that France can be trusted. France is a trustworthy partner. We don't trust the Americans so much. We understand that we might need their technology and they might need our money.
Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the CHANAKYA Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. First of all, many congratulations and good wishes on Republic Day. We saw a fantastic parade, ladies and gentlemen. We saw the French columns march past by and we saw Rafales in the sky. We saw helicopters and we saw aircraft and we saw marching contingents of the Indian Army, Navy and the Air Force. We saw BSF, CISF and other forces including the Delhi police. In addition, we saw all these tableaus from various states and of course tableaus like ISRO and other organizations, and matter of great pride for everybody. Indians all over the world or NRIs all over the world must have seen this parade. Now today I'm going to discuss something strategic. The French president was here in India, and earlier the Americans had given an impression to India or communicated to India that Joe Biden will be the chief guest. Joe Biden said that he has a tight political calendar and therefore he cannot attend. It would have been just a matter of a day. He could have come all the way to India, attended and gone back. But then the President of the United States of America did not come to India, and they said, as I mentioned, a very tight political calendar. Also, there are various stresses and strains in the India-US relationship. And all of you NRIs there in the United States of America will understand a few things here. America, nothing against America, the nation. But I think American politicians are not an immensely trustworthy lot. And when I say this, I mean that America has a long history of letting down its allies. Sure, it's not let down Israel and UK so far, but everybody else has got the short end of the stick. And I think Indians are extremely well informed and they understand this fact that the US government will let you down at some point in time. Now, why am I saying this? You see, America said no, Joe Biden said no. We contacted the French president and the French president said yes. It's going to be a matter of honor and privilege to be here in India as the chief guest on Republic Day. And here he is. Indians have always maintained for a very long time, before I get into the geopolitics and the weapons platforms and all that, that will come much later. But I think Indians understand one thing. Amongst all the Western countries, the most trusted is France. And I'll tell you why. It's not even about when India, had the nuclear tests and France supported us, or whether France supports our candidature to the United Nations Security Council, and Rafale, and P-75, and this and that, and the, Mirage, and so many other things, the Safran engines. I can go on and on about India and France, but that is not the point here. The point is emotional, and you'll find it funny because you'll say that we are talking hardcore geopolitics. What does emotion have got to do with it? But if you ask a common Indian who's well informed, somehow in their hearts, Indians feel that France can be trusted. France is a trustworthy partner. We don't trust the Americans so much. We understand that we might need their technology and they might need our money. But with France, it's friendship. It's not an accord. It's not something that is politically or geopolitically convenient. With France, it is friendship. And we have stood with France and France has stood by us whenever we needed France and France needed us. And there is a great deal of trust as far as France is concerned. Now, coming to the mechanics of this whole issue, he landed in Jaipur rather than landing in New Delhi. I'm talking about the President of France. He landed in Jaipur and there was a road show. And then he came and he attended this. But beyond all that, beyond the optics of the Jaipur visit and beyond the optics of the road show and also the Republic Day parade, there is a deeper understanding. Europe, very big market for India. All right. And Europe is
India has these, countries that India is best friends with in that region. Okay, for example, in Europe, top of the line relationship with France. So one country in France, that is the hook. In retail parlance, let me call it the anchor brand. France is the anchor brand in Europe. If you look at the Muslim world, or the entire Arab world, or even, not just the Arab world, the entire Muslim world, the anchor brand is the UAE. India gets along with UAE like a house on fire. In fact, on the 14th of February, which is next month, the Prime Minister of India is going to UAE to inaugurate a temple there. A Muslim country, run on the lines of Sharia, and the Indian Prime Minister is going there to actually inaugurate a temple, right? In Africa, we have started building relationships with Uganda, with Kenya, with other countries. So all this is happening. India is building up diplomacy. In our neighborhood, we have Sri Lanka, excellent relations. Nepal, excellent relations. Bangladesh, top of the line relations, right? All these countries here. So what India is doing is, like I mentioned in retail, you have an anchor brand. France is the anchor brand in Europe. France is our diplomatic and economic foothold in Europe. France is the anchor brand. Now, we have much that we want from France, and France is happy to give it to us. We want to buy stuff from France, for example, the Rafale. Now, let's start with Rafale, because Rafale is something that all of you recognize and all of you know how important it is for India. And it all started off by the Air Chief briefing the Prime Minister and saying that as far as our squadron strength is concerned, we are authorized a squadron strength of 42 and we are below 30. And it's a matter of grave concern. And this was the time when General Bipin Rawat was the army chief, and later on he articulated this entire thing about 2.5 front war and all that. You're all aware of that. We've discussed this many a time. So he said Pakistan and China, and also the terrorism and the 5th generation warfare that we face. So he mentioned 2.5 wars. Now, as far as the kinetic aspect of war is concerned, as far as Air Force is concerned, I think fighter planes are the platform. And amongst the fighter planes today, I think the best platform that we have is Rafale. And with the Rafale, you know, the Chinese did everything. In the Global Times, there were articles and they were comparing Rafale to Chinese fighters and saying that, you know, the Rafale are substandard in front of the Chinese fighters, etc. So this was information warfare being done by the Chinese. Otherwise, if the Rafale was actually substandard, why would the Chinese care? They would have ignored it. That would have been the best for the Chinese. But no, they did not. They took cognizance of the fact that India is buying 36 Rafales from the French. Then, late last year, India actually went ahead and told the French that we need 26 marine fighters of the Rafale. You know, the M version, the marine version, the naval version. We are going to take that. There is also this rumor. Okay, it's not a rumor, but it's something that has cropped up in conversations a lot of times. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this is the truth because there is no media report, but I've heard it from responsible quarters. So, I'll assume it's the truth. Okay. Normally, whatever I talk to you about, I always have a backup that, hey, I'm discussing this news cutting and this media house said this and let me discuss this with you. But this time, I don't have a media house report to back up my claim, but I've heard from very responsible quarters of serving people. People who are still there in the government. And I think that a bulk order of Rafale is coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know the size of this order and I don't know when it's going to come. Maybe tomorrow, maybe after a year or 2 years or 5, I don't know. And I don't know the size of this order, but people are saying that roughly the same size of the first order of Rafale, that is 36 or even more. It could be even more, much more, depending. And India is very keen that Rafale is made in India under the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme. So this is something that, could be announced. It's a matter of time, it will be announced. So this is happening. I mentioned Project 75 of the Indian Navy, and I mentioned how, various submarines were being built. Let me take the names of a few. That is INS Kalvari, INS Kandheri, INS Karnaj, INS Vela, INS Vagir and INS Vakshir. Now, these are all the submarines that we have made with French help under Project 75. There are over 1,000 French companies that operate in India and vice versa, right? Contributing to bilateral trade reaching $19.2 billion. And they're saying that this needs to go up to $30 billion or more. So, France will become one of the top trading partners of India. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from that, there have been French presidents have been a regular at the Republic Day parade. And this is not the first time, by the way, the French president is coming. I think this is the 6th time. And let me just tell you, in 1976, we had Jacques Chirac. And then in 1980, we had President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Then in 2008, we had President Nicolas Sarkozy. In 2016, we had President Hollande. In 2019, we had Macron. And again in 2024, we have Macron. So this is the relationship that India has traditionally shared with the French. It's a great and a deep and a trustworthy strategic relationship that we have. As I said before, who makes the best weapons in the world? And our relationship with France is not just based on defense only. It's also about space. It's also about energy. It's about so many things. It's about technology. It's not just weapons. Weapons are very visible because you say Rafale, oh, French platform. Everybody knows Rafale is French. So which is why it's become very popular. But our relationship is deeper than that of simply, cutting checks and buying weapons from France. No, it's much, much deeper. But at the same time, I would like to repeat this point. It's very important. And a lot of NRIs have spoken to me about this. What is the reason why Indians don't trust America very easily? It's because of your politicians. Nothing against the American people. They're lovely people. All the respect for the United States of America. But your politicians are not up to the task. You keep on saying that, hey, politicians in Asia are bad, and I think you have amongst the worst politicians in the world, Americans. And I'll give you 2 recent examples of how America turned its back on its friends, which is why we don't trust America. Which is why whenever America promises the moon, we take it not with a pinch but a fistful of salt. We know that these guys are lying. This is just marketing. We know that. Okay? The first example I'll tell you, Zelensky. You let down Zelensky. You made him fight against the Russians. Poor guy is getting thrashed black and blue. Vladimir Putin is beating Zelensky black and blue every single day. And he's loving it. He's enjoying it. And he's thrashing the living life out of Zelensky and the Ukrainian army. And the Americans say, we'll not give you money. The Americans promised Zelensky, you will not want for weapons or money. Don't worry, the supply will keep on coming on. He believed the Americans, and now the Americans are backtracking. The Europeans are backtracking, by the way. And the earlier example is, America exited from Afghanistan. All of you know that, right? And that's all right. There was a Doha plan that they had signed up for, and they said we'll get out of Afghanistan after 20 years and $2 or $3 trillion later. We'll get out, and that's okay. America can do what it wants. Any country can do what it wants, yeah. What the Americans did was, they paid money to the Afghan National Army, right? They supported the Afghan National Army. They said, don't worry, we'll take care of you, we'll take care of your friends, we'll take care of your children, we'll take care of your family members, we'll take care of everybody who's associated with you. Your friends, your contacts, your sources, everybody will take care of. We are the United States of America, we don't lack for money, and we'll make you American citizens. All you do is fight our war for us against the Taliban. These people fought, and they fought very bravely. What happened? They left the Afghan National Army in the lurch. So, ladies and gentlemen, I said I'll give you 2 examples of America's treachery. Let me give you a third. The Americans betrayed the Northern Alliance. Today, the Northern Alliance is shattered, and it exists in small parts in Tajikistan. Which is why, India could have bought, Americans have been after the Indians to buy fighter jets from America. India could have bought the F-35. It is the latest jet, though it's a single engine aircraft, but India could have bought that. India could have bought anything from the Americans. And the Americans were ready to, sell it to the Indians. But the only problem is the trust factor with the Americans. They have a habit of letting down people. They'll just stop talking to you one fine day. leaving you in the lurch. So we trusted the French. It's a good bet. And the Americans, I think, will have to work harder to gain India's trust. You cannot have a transactional relationship with us. You cannot treat us like Pakistan. Give something and Pakistan will do your dirty work. We don't want anything from the Americans. If we are taking weapons from you, remember, we're giving you money in return. We are getting nothing from you free like the Pakistanis. Nothing. We are not getting any grants from you. We don't need any aid from you. We don't need any loans from you. We need nothing. But if you're going to sell us weapons, we need to be able to trust you. We have the money. You have the platforms. But if you want to sell us stuff, you have to get India to trust you first. So ladies and gentlemen, this is all I have for you. I just thought I'll discuss this, President Macron's visit to India and why it's so important. Why the French and the Indian relationship is so important, at least for India, and I'm sure also for France, simply because the other option there is the United States of America, and it's not a very pleasant option. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.